What a week for Sergio Perez. 2 DNFs in 2 race weekends, back-to-back business, but a 2-year deal sandwiched in between those 2 race weekends. Is he the luckiest man in the world, or is this the craziest week we have ever seen in Formula 1 history? Yes, that's correct. Sergio Perez has got a 2-year deal with Red Bull, but either side of that deal being announced, we have a DNF in Monaco and we got a DNF in Canada. This has got to be one of the craziest weeks for any Formula 1 driver in Formula 1 history. Isn't it crazy? A man who has won the Monaco Grand Prix, meaning your qualifying was sensational, meaning you're able to handle the pressure, meaning you're able to win at the most prestigious race in Formula 1. Not only did he DNF, ladies and gentlemen, but he also did not make it even into Q2, for goodness sake. The man qualified P16. Checo, what's going on? I love Sergio Perez, okay? I love the Mexican people. P16 to start the race in qualifying? Shocking scenes. Not making it into Q2 in a Red Bull? Unforgivable. Not only once did he do this, he did this twice. Sorry, 3 times. Don't forget, in Imola, he only made it into Q2. These are spots he should be nowhere near, okay? Nowhere near. P11 in Imola in terms of starting the race. P16 in Monaco. P16 in Canada. What is going on? Just when you think the rain is pouring down on Sergio's life, guess what happens? Bang! 2-year deal at Red Bull. Unbelievable scenes, shocking scenes that shock the shockwaves of Formula 1. But glorious scenes of emotion for Mr. Sergio Perez. And lots has been said about this, the good, the bad, the ugly about this deal. In fact, not many people are talking about the good, so let's talk about the good. Let's talk about why Sergio Perez should have had that 2-year deal with Red Bull. 2-year extension, it means stability, okay? Sergio Perez having joined the team in 2021, the man has done nothing but be stable at that Red Bull company. I know the results haven't been great, but what are we talking about here? We're not expecting him to be world champion, are we? We never did. Remember, Red Bull have been criticized for years for not keeping on to their drivers. I give you Gasly, I give you Kvyat, I give you Albon. They've got good form for dropping their drivers. And we've complained when they've dropped them. So why don't we for once actually applaud Red Bull for some stability? How about that? Also, you've got to remember, the Max Verstappen situation doesn't seem certain, or let's say concrete. So the last thing they need is probably no Checo and maybe no Max Verstappen. Could you imagine Red Bull walking into 2025 or walking into 2026 with not any of their 2 recognized drivers? It would be shambolic scenes. And of course, new regs in 2026. The key for these teams, the top teams in Formula 1, is to have stability. When you're right near the top, the last thing you need is chaos. The last thing you need is drama, okay? And there's been nothing but drama at Red Bull in 2024. This is the most stable news they could get all season long. And by the way, they're still winning races, okay? And they're still top of the Constructors' Championship. But then after that 2-year extension news, we then get to Canada. How shall we start? Out in Q1, unbelievable scenes, Jeff. P16 again, 2 race weekends in a row qualifying P16. It's shocking scenes, Checo. It's now 3 non-Q3P appearances in a row in qualifying. Sergio Perez, you need to get back to the drawing board, because it wasn't that long ago that you were literally in the podium places, okay? Qualifying decently as well. It's one thing starting P16 in a Red Bull in Canada, but it's another thing being stuck behind the jabronis that are all over the circuit. The guy was not getting past anybody. At the minimum, we expect Checo to be the 2nd best driver on the grid because he's in the best car in the grid. Okay, maybe the 3rd best driver on the grid in terms of points, but we're not getting that from him this season. He did finish P2 in the Drivers' Championship. I know, just. But then we get rear wing damage. Now here's the thing with Checo. Remember in Monaco he had DNF'd after the first turn in Monaco because he was near the back. When you're near the back of the grid, there's all kinds of chaos that can go on. Even in the middle of the grid, you don't want to be caught in that situation. And it was a horrific crash in Monaco. Well, the guy spins out, he has a bit of a crash, and the damage didn't look like it was going to be that severe. But my goodness, the rear wing off. He was basically driving a saloon. Then of course, DNF business. And I'm sure at this point, he cannot wait to see the back of this weekend, the back of the last couple of weeks really, and head into the break before we get to Spain. Aha, not quite. Not before we get a 3-place grid penalty for Mr. Sergio Perez. Why? When the car was without the rear wing, guess what? It was too dangerous. In quotes, significantly damaged car. That's what's caused the situation here. Now, Checo was trying to drive back to the pits just to make sure, there's no safety car or anything of that matter, but there was carbon flying everywhere, all over the gaff. Now, I'm not saying it was safe, but listen, 3-place grid penalty? Harsh. And just when I thought it was wrapped up, guess what? 25,000 euros Red Bull were fined for. For what? Again, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. But here's something Sergio Perez needs to get on with over the course of the European part of the Formula 1 2024 season. We need Q3 appearances, Sergio Perez, okay? We don't want any more shenanigans regarding you in Q1 or in Q2. We need you comfortably in Q3. Because that way you stay out of the nonsense, you stay out of the trouble, and you have a decent weekend. Lest we forget, the first 5 races of this season, Sergio Perez finished on the podium 4 times, especially because he was in Q3 in each and every single one of those weekends. And I hope as well he gets a race win this season. This season we've had 9 races with 4 different race winners, and yet Checo is nowhere to be found. Wait, the 2024 season, considering how things started at this season, I would have bitten your hand off for a season like this right now. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because this Formula 1 2024 season is on fire. Part of the reason it's been on fire is because Alpine cannot stop with the drama. To find out more, click this video right here. And until next time, lights out.